Hey there, everyone. This is Dr. Gwen from the Dr. Gwen International, Inc., and host of the iTunes show, the Dr. Gwen Podcast Show. This afternoon, we are actually talking about procrastination, dealing with procrastination. And I know that this can be an issue for quite a number of people. I think everyone at some point in his or her life procrastinate. And I think we do it on a very regular basis. However, if you find that you're not getting your major goals completed, and if you find that it starts to worry you deep in your gut, in your heart, and you know you're not moving in your business or your life the way you think you ought to be, then it is an issue. It is a problem. Occasional procrastination, we all do it, okay? So I don't care about what anybody says about how productive they are and how on track they are with their goals. I feel like I can be the #1 worker, well, used to be, because now I have learned to relax with ease and grace and to get my tasks still accomplished while feeling wonderfully refreshed, relaxed, and amazing. So let's talk about this procrastination thing here, though, that so many people are plagued with. Are you one of those people who find yourself procrastinating? That is, putting off a task that you know must be done. And then what you do is you wait until the very last minute and run yourself ragged into the ground, staying up till all odd hours of the night to get it done. Stop doing that. Because #1, that's not something that is healthy for you. And #2, it is not going to cause you to be as perfected with your task or as efficient with your task, because when you're rushing at the last minute, what's actually happening is there's a lot of room for mistakes. You can't catch those mistakes as easily as you would, and had you finished it in time, you'd have had opportunities to review and to edit and to make it even more perfect. So stop doing that. It's not good for you. In general, though, I believe that there are about 7 reasons why people procrastinate. 7 reasons. And I want to read them off to you, or to say them to you, to see whether you recognize any of them. And I will speak about them as I address them. #1 is perfectionism, that fear of criticism. You're waiting to make it just right. I want to learn just something more, because I feel like when I put my video out there, or when I put my sales page out there, or when I put my article out there, people may criticize it and I'll feel badly about it. Well, you know what? What I've done is come to the point of knowing, as one who used to be a perfectionist, that some things are just going to have to be good enough. And when I say good enough, I don't mean compromising quality in a severe way. But there is nothing that's absolutely going to be perfect. And if you're waiting for that, you're never going to get started, because it never will be perfect. Here's the thing that I've learned, that putting out my information, the content, whatever it is that I put out, once I put it out and people interact with it and begin to interact with it, they might leave comments about things that they think that were valuable to them, and probably thoughts about what could have been included to make it more valuable for them. And at that point, it could be an insight for me to tweak for later. So I start taking notes. So you cannot wait to be perfect. And you know what? You can either get it done, or you can either be mindful about what people are going to say about your work. You cannot have it both. So you have to pick one. Is it you're going to get the stuff done, or is it you're going to be mindful about what other people are going to say? So that is the first reason why I see that people procrastinate, that fear of criticism or perfectionism, just want to get it right. So you have to also figure out whether or not you are overwhelmed and not knowing where to begin. I know when I have a massive task on hand, what I tend to do is to think about it over and over in my mind. I'm mulling through all of the ideas and all of the suggested thoughts that come into my brain. Then I will grab my phone and I'll record it, speak into it, or I'll grab a notepad and I'll write on it. I have a little red book that I carry around with me, that if there's any thoughts that pop out, I'm going to capture those thoughts. But at some point, you have to stop mulling it over in your mind. You have to start figuring, when are you going to get started with it? And getting started sooner than later is a good thing. Now, there's one tool that I love to use to brainstorm with, and it's called Mind Maple. And I just draw the little arcs and write down the ideas that come off of that major project that I'm planning. So they're little arms like octopus's arms. And at the end of those little arms are bubbles that I am writing in the thoughts that are coming to me, so that I can leave my brain free and clear to receive all the positive goodness that this world is abundant with, instead of clogging it up with thoughts of what am I going to do. So are you overwhelmed and not knowing where to start? That fear will definitely keep you stuck in procrastination if you don't do anything about it. You may tend to work on some tasks that are unimportant. I know I've found myself doing that while I'm thinking about what the next step is going to be. Maybe so you want to use your time kind of mulling it through, doing some tasks that may not be important, but you're moving some things along. Well, that's all well and good, but you don't want to stay there a long time, because there you're buying time. So get it on paper as soon as possible so that you can begin to figure out. Now, once you get it on paper, I told you about my little octopus arms with the bubbles on the end. Those are my action steps that I am going to take to get what I have to do done. And once I set those action steps in place, then the next thing is just pick one. Pick one of where to start. Get out of your head. Don't sit there and try to figure out the whole thing from start to finish. You will never get started. I used to do that. Isn't it horrible? And I told you probably in the past that when there was a major task to be done, to be volunteered for, I was not going to be the first one to raise my hand, because I had to see in my head how I was going to start the project and how I was going to complete the project before I would raise my hand. I'm not doing it. But now I tend to jump in and figure it out as I go. It's so much more alive and vibrationally beautiful that way. It really is, you know. Somewhat a little keep you on the edge, yes, and keep that adrenaline going, not for too long. But once you are in it, what happens is the thoughts start opening up and the ideas, more ideas start coming. It's like this. You take the first step, and then when you take that first step, the path opens up for you to see where to put your feet for the next step. And you may not see all the way down the road, but you've got to trust the process that it's going to open up. So if you are stuck in procrastination because you don't even know where to start, take one step. Just one step. I promise you that once you take that one step, another step will open up just as you land on that first step, and that will lead you to where you need to go gradually, one step at a time. The third reason why people procrastinate is because of distraction. That Facebook, that social media, that Pinterest, boy, isn't that a tempting platform, right? I remember one time when I was just learning about Pinterest that I went on there and I said, okay, I didn't understand the platform to start. So I thought I was doing this training course and went on there to explore. And my goodness, what I saw, I couldn't get off of the dress page. You know, I love to dress up. And I couldn't get off of the dress page with all those gorgeous outfits put together. So before long, 3 hours later, I was clicking on pictures. I didn't even think that I needed to put that thing in different categories because I was doing recipes and I was doing clothing and I was doing photo shooting. They were all in one big blob. I still haven't separated it. I need to have my assistant go in and separate that for me. But it was so much fun going on there and figuring that out. Now, once I realized how attractive that could be and how hooking that could be, I definitely made an effort to avoid going there unless I went there with some intention. So if you are distracted, last week I gave you at least 2 tools that you can use. One is rescue time, and the other one is stay focused. And those are both Chrome add-ins that you can add in your Chrome browser and activate to help you to stay on track so that you can be not distracted going off to different websites. Your cell phone is another big distraction. When you hear that text message coming in, the temptation to look to see who is sending you a message. Email can be distracting. Phone calls can be distracting. So last week I also shared with you a tool, and I haven't put it out yet because I'm still working with my assistant to get those modules, those cells right. He had it right, and now the colors won't change. So I sent it back to him this morning to get the colors because I want the colors blocked. It's a spreadsheet, but it's really great, and you're going to be able to put your items on there, view your items for the week, then view your weekly or your daily schedules, and then at the end, see a summary of the total amount of time you spent on each activity. That's one way you can track it. And what I would recommend for you to do about the distraction is to get a piece of paper and start carrying that with you and writing down, what do you find yourself doing every moment of the day? Write it down, time and day. What am I doing now? I'm watching TV. What am I doing now? I'm eating. What am I doing now? Taking care of my personal needs, whatever it is. Write it down, and then at the end of the week, take a good look at how you are spending your time. You'll be surprised to see how many distracting activities you have in there, because we all have 168 days in the whole week, right? And most of us, we sleep for 56 of it. Yeah, about 56 of it, some more, some less. So what do we do with the other 100 odd? That's a lot of hours. You know, what do you do with it? And I am not suggesting that you spend those hours working. Oh no, that is not healthy. You have to spend time relaxing and taking care of yourself. So that third one was distraction, getting over the distraction. The fourth one is thinking you can do it later and that it will be easier. Wow, we find ourselves that. See, most people are get it now, satisfied now people. It's like they don't have any bone of delayed gratification in them. And so they want the pleasures now. And if something is competing with your task in that moment, you're probably going to pick the one that's going to give you more pleasure in that moment. And it may not be the best choice for you, but that's what you probably are going to do. Now, if you find yourself thinking that it will be easier later, think about the consequences of putting it off. What is going to happen, or what could happen? You can rush to do it. Your computer could crash at the last minute and then you never get it done. You could The electricity could go out and you could never get it done if you're doing it on a computer. Just think about it. For me, I have never been that person who is going to put it off till later, hoping it will be better, because I know how life is. Life comes at you. Life happens. Things come up. And when I put something off that is major for later, it's going to be inevitable almost that something else is going to come up that's more urgent, that's going to knock that back. And I don't want to deal with that level of stress. So I plan out my activities. But what about you? What can you do to ensure that you are actually staying on task with what you have to do? Well, one of the things that make people do what they have to do is, we call this the meta program, away from or towards. Some of us are motivated away from pain, and some of us are motivated toward what brings us good pleasure. Now, for some people, the threat of loss is something that will get them to do the work. For example, if you're a supervisor or you're a boss hiring people, or even if you're a parent and you have children, you will notice that you can say to some kids, you know what, finish that and you'll have your favorite game. And they will rush to do it. You say that to another kid and it doesn't faze them, because that is not what motivates them. If you say, well, finish that and you can get to go to whatever, they may not even move. But if you say, Johnny, can you realize the consequence of not finishing that activity? It probably will mean that you won't be able to do blah, 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 whatever Johnny will be deprived of. And that may inspire Johnny, because he is the person that is motivated away from pain. So Johnny may decide that he's wanting to do it. So I'm going to tell you, put something at risk. If you're that person, give $500 to someone to hold for you and say, when I get this task done in 5 days, give it back to me. If I don't, you get to keep it. See if that doesn't motivate you, if you think you want to put the thing off for later. Now, there is a fifth way that people get distracted, and that is the fear of the unknown. Ooh, wow, this one is a big one. Because you don't know what's going to happen if this thing that you are about to take on explodes. What if it explodes and it gets really big and gorgeous and I can't handle it? So it's almost like a fear of success. What if it gets big and I can't handle it? Or what if it flops? Fear of failure, fear of not knowing what the results can be, where it can lead to. And all of those fears are things you put in your head. They are stories you're telling yourself. Because here's what, there are resources available around you that you can pull on, whether the thing flops or whether it explodes. You can pull on people to help you to pull it together. And if you don't have those skills to do it, hire a coach. Hire a coach to help you to pull that together. Never stop pursuing your goals, your dreams, or anything because you are afraid of what you don't know is going to happen. That fear is a beast. It is a beast. And that fear is an imposter. What I do know about it is this, that when you take the first step, it lessens. You are more powerful than it. And all you have to do is put your foot out there and start it, and the path gradually opens to you. But never be stuck feeling fearful of not knowing where this is going to lead to. And I know how that pressure can feel inside. I really know that. I've been there. However, it's beautiful to go past there, to see your dreams fulfilled simply because you just stepped out, just feeling all those things and dealing with them and moving forward in the moment. The sixth reason why people procrastinate is a lack of passion. Some people say lack of motivation. My goodness, if you don't love what you do, it's kind of hard. It really is a challenge to get up and do it. So you may have to find creative ways to help you to get it done. For example, give yourself a reward if you get it done. Just set up a reward for yourself that will keep you, maybe if I get this done, I am going to purchase a gorgeous outfit, or I'm going to go to Disney World, or I'm going to go to some country to enjoy myself if I get it done. Put a reward there for yourself, something to keep you inspired to do it. And this is only if it's like a job that you have to do it in order to maintain your work. The next thing I would say is find something that you're passionate about. Discover what your passions are and do those things. Or I have a passion test that I give, which helps you to discover your top 5 passions. Now, when you know your top 5 passions, here's what. You're able to endure a boring job a little bit more. I'm not telling you to stay in a boring job, because a lot of people stay in a boring job and cause themselves a lot of illness. I'm not saying that. However, if you feel that you don't want to switch positions, you don't want to do anything, know what your top 5 passions are and go out and live those week by week. I have a client that I gave the passion test to, and he discovered what his top 5 passions were. And in that discovery, he discovered that one was traveling, he likes kids, and the third one was golfing. And so this client was not doing, he was just tunnel vision in his work. He is not going off to have any fun. He's not going to do anything because he had just bought this business and he wanted to make sure the business takes off. After doing the passion test and instructing him on the #1 way to live a passionate life, the secret, he went off and started doing the things that he was passionate about. You know what was funny and amazing? I got a call from him and he said, "You will never believe what happened. My business exploded. I am so much happier now because I feel like I love my life. You know, I'm doing the things that matter." Well, here's what. If you don't have a passion for doing something, open up another channel of passions that will inspire all areas of your life, so that now you can feel inspired to take on the hard tasks. How about that? And then the 7th and final reason is the fear of commitment. Some of us don't like to commit. We feel that if we're committing, we may not have the skill set to do it. We may not have the time to do it. We may not have the desire to do it. See, these are all of the stories that we tell ourselves that trip us up on a daily basis. So what are you telling yourself? The fear of commitment is just like the other first one I started with the not being overwhelmed and not knowing where to start. Just start. That's all you've got to do. Don't let stories that are locked up in your head about what could happen, because that's all that stories are. What could happen? 99.9% of them never do happen anyway. And yet people sit stuck on their lives, not taking on the major things that will bring them complete happiness and bliss. Where do you want to live your life from today? Do you want to have a wonderful experience day to day, whether it shines outside, whether it's snowing outside, whether it's raining outside, whatever the weather is outside, you have your own climate going on in here that creates the atmosphere for how your day will go. Do you want to do that? Because I know this. When you overcome procrastination, here's what's going to happen. You're going to feel more confident. You're going to feel like, oh my, I can do this. All maybe some, maybe all of the negative self-talk that you have built up as a result of not doing your tasks will be eradicated. Maybe. You never know. So I want you to be very mindful of this. And I am so happy that you were able to join me today talking about these 7 things that cause procrastination. Listen, I want you to reach out and let me know if you found this valuable. And by all means, visit my blog over at thedrgwen.com/blog and leave us a comment there. Thank you so much. I enjoyed making this presentation for you. You have the most amazing day. This is Dr. Gwen, skyrocketing business profits from the inside out and transforming lives to live purposefully and passionately.